And I'm Sarah. Today we are going to be using a pot. What is the reason for this pot? Well, there are special papers inside that we're going to be choosing out of.
It's a name of a character from Of Mice and Men.
So, what we're going to do is we're going to pick one out and talk about that person. First, we're going to describe the character, and then we're going to say how they change throughout. Person number one.
Slim. So throughout the book, Slim was understanding and friendly. He's the character who gave the puppies to Lenny, and he also helped George out throughout his new job.
So in the beginning of the book, Lenny was pretty shy, but then towards the end of the book, he was always present during like the rough times, so he was always there for people.
The second name
is George. So throughout the book, George was pretty caring, he was understanding, but at some points he was a pretty stubborn character.
In the beginning, he was a little bit mean towards Lenny. He was always telling him to pull himself together, but near the end, he was able to help Lenny through his tough times.
Number 3. Okay.
Lenny!
Yay!
Okay, so right from the beginning of the story, you could kind of tell that Lenny had some type of disability. Like, he wasn't able to think as fast or remember things as much. And this thing you learn about him kind of sticks with it the whole book. Like, that's usually what gets him in trouble, or what's the deciding factor if he gets to do something or not. And in the end, it ends up causing him a lot of trouble.
So throughout the book, Lenny keeps making mistakes, as Maddie said before. So in the beginning of the book, he always just stuck with George, and George always told him what to do. But towards the end, he started getting his own mind, which got him into a lot of trouble.
Curly. Right from the beginning, you could tell Curly was a kind of mean, aggressive character, and he was really cocky. He always needed to be the best at everything, so his way of going about that would be picking fights with Lenny to try and prove himself.
So through his change throughout the story, in the beginning, he just really never had a reason to not like George and Lenny, but they just came, so he just hated them, that's why. But towards the end, he started to develop more hatred for them because of everything that they were doing, for beating him up. All right. Candy. Not the Candy you're thinking of. This is an actual character. So, Candy was a character he was an old guy, so he kind of just went with the flow. So once his dog got killed, he decided that there was nothing that was holding him back anymore, so he decided that he wanted to join in on Lenny and George's dream of becoming a rancher.
In the beginning of the story, Candy kind of kept to himself and he just took care of his dog, but once his dog was shot, he kind of opened himself up more, and he joined in with Lenny and George because since he was missing a hand, he kind of figured he'd be fired soon anyways, so he joined in with Lenny and George on their big American dream to own their own ranch.
Number 7.
Crooks. Crooks was the stable boy on the ranch, and he was African American, so he never really got the same respect as anybody else on the ranch. Mainly by the ranch owners. They kind of just tossed him aside and told him what to do. But by everyone else, he was kind of treated fairly, since these guys also were kind of low on the social ladder.
So in the beginning of the book, you didn't really hear a lot from Crooks. It was just in one chapter that you heard of Crooks, and he was kind of stubborn and mean, but he came to the realization that these guys could help him out by joining his dream, so he started to rethink of the way he felt about them, so he started becoming more accepting. I wonder who it is! Oh, would you like that? Curly's wife. Some words that come to mind when thinking of Curly's wife would be provocative, outgoing.
In the beginning, she was always trying to seek attention from everyone, and she seemed really needy. Throughout the story, she kind of stayed the same with the attention, but she, near the end, she kind of like felt safer, I guess, around Lenny, which was a mistake.
For the next thing in our video, we are going to be talking about the themes of Mice and Men. So there's 5 of them, and we're just going to be using this tiny little mug. Okay. So we're going to just be describing how this theme was shown out and like an example of it. Alright, here you go, Maddie.
Okay. Freedom. When George and Lenny, throughout the book, the reader can tell that they don't want to work on a ranch, that they want to be their own bosses. And so they're always trying to come up with a plan for their freedom of living in their own house and not having to give their money away to the person who owns the ranch.
Alrighty. Number 2 would be innocence. A perfect example of this would be Lenny. Lenny shows innocence throughout the whole book because he doesn't realize how his actions affect other people, so he's pretty much innocent the whole book. Number 3, Maddie.
Justice. Justice throughout the book, Lenny unintentionally hurts people, but near the end, I guess it's justice because something unfortunate happens to Lenny, and it kind of like balances out everything he's done.
4. Alright. Friendship. Perfect. Lenny and George have such a great relationship. Although George may not be the best of friends to Lenny, he still shows that he cares, and he cares a lot for him, and he sticks with him throughout the whole book. And the last theme is
loneliness. So throughout the story, there's kind of a bunch of characters that are actually lonely. Some of them are Crooks, Curly's wife, and Carlson. Starting off with Carlson, once his dog dies, he kind of has no one there for him since it's been him and his dog for the past years. Curly's wife, her husband's always off doing something, and she kind of always feels like she needs to seek attention from other people. And lastly, Crooks, since he's black, he's not really accepted by anyone, so he's always out in his own house, and no one ever comes to visit him since he's not allowed in with them.
till next time, people. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Maddie.